So, good morning, dear students. We are going to resume our lecture from here. So, see, in case of system of particles, we have very large number of particles, and here we say that force on ith particle, okay, is written as force on ith particle can be written as. So, recall this equation or write down this equation in your book. We are going to study or we are going to use that equation in next subsequent lectures. So if you say force on ith particles by applying Newton's second law, what is that force? External force, its component, and plus we have internal force, okay, and nature of that internal force is like this: summation over j running from 1 to capital N I is not equal to j Fij internal. Okay, on the right hand side we have dpi by dt. Okay, now how we get this factor? Okay, to understand this, consider, suppose that ith particle is first particle, that arbitrary particle is first particle. Okay, and if we apply external force, due to that external force, a component of external force is F1 external, and due to that force, position of these all particles are changing. Due to that due to that when we apply Newton's second law of motion to only for mass m1, okay, in that case, compared to m1, all the objects of masses m1 up to mn are objects, are external objects. So we have to take into account forces acting on m1 due to these external objects. Remember, in Newton's laws of motion, what we say, external force is the force applied by external body. So here, if you apply Newton's second law for m1, all the masses are external bodies. If you take whole system which comprises of m1, m2, m3, then we did not take internal forces. Why? Because for whole system, all these masses are part of the systems. But when we apply Newton's second law of motion to only mass m1, in that case, external bodies are m2, m3, and m4 up to mn. That's why we have to take into account internal forces. And here, what we are doing, we are taking, we are applying Newton's second law of motion to a mi particle. Okay. Now, to calculate those internal forces, how we can calculate? So, first of all, force acting on first particle due to second. So, we call this as F12, and this force is internal force. Okay. Plus, we can say force acting on first due to third, force acting on first due to fourth. Okay, up to force acting on first due to last mass. Okay, suppose this is second, then we can say we cannot take F22 because this represents force acting on mass m2 due to mass m2, which is not possible. Okay, so here we have to take 2 1, then again 2 3, okay, 2 4, 2 5. If you take ith particle, so here we can write I1, I2, I3, okay, I4 up to IN. So this we can represent by that symbol Fij. So we are taking Fi1, Fi2, Fi3. Okay, Fi1 means force acting on ith particle due to first. I2 means what? Force acting on ith particle due to second mass. Mi3 means what? Force acting on ith particle due to third mass. Okay, we are continuing that sum up to capital N. Okay, and here we have excluded that Fii term, which represents force acting on ith particle due to ith particle. Okay, which is not possible. Now, going to next derivation part. So we have write this equation is for only ith particle. Okay. Suppose you have to take into account for the whole system. So for whole system, we know that whole system comprises of all the nth particles. So for taking whole system, we have to take summation over, okay, I running from 1 to n. So which means for whole system equation this 4, okay, equation 4 will become for whole system summation over I running from 1 to n fi external plus here we have to take that symbol summation over I running from 1 to n. Again we have that symbol summation over j running from 1 to n. I is not equal to j. Here we have fij internal, okay, and here we have summation over I running from 1 to n dpi by dt. So call this as equation number 5. Okay. Now see in equation number 5 we have this term. Now if you take I is equal to 1, here if you take I is equal to 1, then for I is equal to 1, j running from 1 to n excluding I is not equal to j, which means 1 is not equal to j. So we are here not taking j equal to 1 term. So j start from 2, 3, 4, 5 up to n. Okay. So see, for I is equal to 1, in that we have terms like f1, okay, and j running from 2 to n. So 2, okay, f1, 3, okay, like this. So we are going from for f1n. Now if you take I is equal to 2 in this summation, for I is equal to 2 we have terms, so f2j, okay, so j running from 1 to n, again excluding I is not equal to j, which means we are excluding the term f22. So what are those terms? First term is f21, f23, so 2 term is excluded, so f24 plus plus up to f2n. If you take I is equal to 3, you have here plus f31, f32, okay, like this. For last term when I is equal to n, here we get plus, so plus plus plus, we have to continue in this way, fn1 plus fn2 plus last term is fn n minus 1, okay. So all those forces are the internal forces because this term arises due to internal forces. So see, F12 means what? Force acting on first particle due to second particle. And here we have this term F21, which is what? Force acting on second particle due to first particle. Now in Newton's third law of motion, what we have studied, action and reaction are equal and opposite. Means what? Force acting on first particle due to second, this is suppose action force, then this becomes reaction force. This is what? Suppose this is particle first and this is particle second. F12 means what? Force acting on first particle due to second particle. F21 means what? Force acting on second particle due to first particle. And we know that if force acting on first particle due to second particle is F12, and conversely force acting on second particle due to first is F21, then these two forces must be equal and opposite from Newton's third law of motion. Why? Because this is action force, this is reaction force. you can say action force to this, then this becomes reaction forces. These two forces are equal and opposite. If two forces are equal and opposite, these two forces cancel each other. So this is cancelled with this. So similarly, F13, here we have F31, 2 3 we have 3 2. Okay. Similarly, for last term, here we have F1n, here we have Fn1. So these all the terms are cancelled with one another. So from Newton's, in general words, we can say, from Newton's third law of motion, we can say Fij is minus Fji. Here Fij means what? Force acting on ith particle due to jth particle. And Fji means what? Force acting on jth particle due to ith particle. If we take summation over I, then and then only this will cancel. If you did not take summation over I, this term does not cancel in that equation. Okay. Then equation 5 becomes, what equation 5 becomes? This term is equal to 0. Here we have that Fij. If you write this summation, okay, and use that fact, here we have terms like Fij, Fji. Here we have seen. Okay. If this will be cancelled, then we get summation over Fi external is this. And we know that Fi external, if you add, we know that that is total external force. Okay. Now next, here we know that force acting on ith particle, okay, so is this dpi by dt. Pi is the momentum of ith particle. We know that linear momentum is nothing but product of mass and velocity. So Pi is mi into Pi, and Vi is nothing but rate of change of displacement vector, which is dri by dt. So which means Pi can be written as mi into, instead of Ve, we can say vector dri, okay, by dt. So using in above equation, what we will get? Using in this equation, here we get summation over I running from 1 to n. Here we get mi into dri by dt. Now this is equal to mi, okay, or we can say this is nothing but derivative of summation over I running from 1 to n. We have taken that derivative to left hand side. Mi is the constant term, okay, so mi into ri. We know that if you take derivative, mi is constant and this will become this. So you can write this term as this. Okay. Now from equation for center of mass, that is equation number 2. Okay. What is that equation number 2? If you recall equation number 2, which is r is equal to summation over I running from 1 to n mi ri divided by capital M. So from this equation we can write summation over I running from 1 to n mi ri. If you take that m to here, we can say m into vector r. So using this, what we will get? F external is equal to d dt of, instead of mi ri summation, okay, we can write this as m into capital R. This capital M is the total mass, which is constant, so m d2r by dt square. See, if you apply external force to the whole system, then that external force is equal to capital M is mass of the whole system multiplied by d2r by dt square. So this is the acceleration of vector r. Vector r is the position of center of mass. Means what? This is acceleration of center of mass. Okay. So in another words, you can write this as rate of change of momentum of center of mass. Okay. So acceleration of center of mass can be replaced by this dp by dt. So for only single particle, we can say external force is equal to dp by dt, which means what? External force acting on that single particle is nothing but rate of change of momentum of that single particle. If we have capital N number of particles, then external force acting on that particle is rate of change of momentum of center of mass of that system. Okay, so in this way we can say for system of particles, Newton's second law of motion is modified. Now we have to take principle of conservation of momentum, which is very simple. Principle of conservation of momentum. For that, here we have statement for system of particles, Newton's second law, which is what? Total external force acting on the whole system is rate of change of momentum of center of mass, okay, of that system. Now if external force acting on the system is zero, or there is no any external force acting on that whole system, okay, in that case, if F external is 0, then what we can say? This becomes 0. Okay. Then P, if derivative of P is 0, which means linear momentum of center of mass must be constant. In other words, it remains constant, which means it is conserved. In other words, we can say if external force acting on the whole system is 0, then linear momentum of center of mass of the system is conserved. Okay, so this is the statement of principle of conservation of momentum. Okay, so with this we stop our lecture over here. Thank you.